President, please be seated.
អង្គនឹងរាប្រកាស
The court is back in session, and the chamber now hands over the floor to the defense team for Mr. Kyu Sumpon to resume questioning.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon, Mr. Prakdun. We are continuing your examination. When we stopped this morning, you were talking about the assembly of mixed families and the fact that you were led to a particular location and then you were split into two groups and your group went to Wat Elong, whereas the other group, from what you were able to find out, went towards Tul Roka. You stated that Wat Elong, the place you were transferred to at the time, was approximately 10 kilometers from Tul Roka. My question to you, therefore, is as follows. How far was the location where the two groups were separated from Tul Roka and from Wat Elong?
Could you repeat your question since I do not get it?
សូមសួរគាត់ម្ដងទៀត
President, please, counsel, repeat your question. He does not get your question. I do not know whether there is any glitch in relation to his equipment.
Monsieur Prakdun, est-ce que vous m'entendez?
Can you hear me now, Mr. Prakdun? Can you hear me and understand what I'm saying?
Answer, yes. I could hear you clearly. A while ago, I was listening to the foreign language channel.
Effectivement.
Yes, I understand. Let me put my question to you again. You talked about the place where the two groups that had left the cooperative were separated, and you stated that you and your group went towards Wat Elong and the other group went towards Tul Roka, where you were subsequently told that executions had been carried out. My question to you is as follows. At the location where the two groups were separated, would you know how far that place was from Tul Roka, for a start?
Answer. Regarding the distance from Melum to Tul Roka, it was about 10 kilometers away. I was asked to be stationed on the way toward Melum area. And later on, I was assigned to stretch the rise about 500 meters away from that area.
Ok. Je crois que vous avez...
Very well. Perhaps I was the one who wasn't clear. I talked about the place where the soldiers accompanying you separated the group into two groups. My question is as follows. How far was that place where you were separated from Tul Roka?
Answer. We were divided into groups, and my wife was sent away from the place where we stopped. It was about 10 kilometers away from that area, and for me, I was sent to another direction, which was about 500 meters away from the stop point.
Quand vous dites à 500 mètres,
When you say 500 meters from where you had set out, which is what I understood from the interpretation, do you mean that the place where the two groups were separated was located at a distance of 500 meters from where you were supposed to take care of rice?
Answer, yes, that is correct.
donc vous restez sur place
So you stayed put 500 meters from where you were separated, and the two groups were 10 kilometers away from you, and that is why you are not able to know what happened subsequently. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Mon autre question,
The other question is as follows. Since you have pointed out that when you were sent to that new location to take care of rice supplies, it was 20 minutes from the cooperative where you were. Did the soldiers who accompanied you to that location stay with you at that location, or they left with the second group, or again they went somewhere else? Do you know?
Answer. Let me make a clarification. We actually were separated at the place where we first stopped. At that time, it was dark, so I did not know where they were going.
d'accord, donc
Very well. My question to you, therefore, is as follows. Who is the person who told you that the second group went to Tuoroka? Who told you that?
Answer. Some people said that the other group of people were sent to Tuoroka. When I came to stretch rice, I estimated that perhaps those people had been sent away and killed. And concerning the distance from the stop point where the second group was sent to Tuoroka, it was about 10 kilometers away from that stop point. This was my estimate.
ma question était de
My question was, who told you that the second group had gone to Tuoroka? Who is the person, or who are the persons who told you that the second group had gone to Tuoroka?
Comrade Hung told me that my family perhaps had been sent away to Tuoroka, and as I said, it is my estimate that the place where my family had been sent to was about 500 meters away from the place where I was sent to stretch the rice, said a civil party.
alors là, excusez-moi,
Well, Mr. Pragjan, I am lost because a while ago you stated that the distance from where you threshed rice and the place where you were separated from the other group was 500 meters, and that Tuoroka, where executions were allegedly carried out, from what you said, was 10 kilometers away. Please tell me, which of the versions is the correct one?
Answer, let me clarify. The groups were divided into two, and my estimate is that my wife had been sent to Turuka, and it was about 10 kilometers away from the first stop point. And compared to the first stop point and the place where I was asked to stress strikes, it was about 500 meters away.
Donc, monsieur.
I take it then, Mr. Pragdun, that it was Comrade Hum who told you of your wife's death and that of your child, and in answer to a question put to you by the International Co-Prosecutor, I believe, and that was yesterday between 2:30 and 2:32 p.m. And this is what you stated. While I was in charge of the rise, I heard the unit head say that they had been smashed. That was free translation. When you talk of the unit head, are you indeed referring to Comrade Hum?
Answer, yes, it was him who told me. He advised me not to be interested in the whereabouts of my family. He told me to focus on my work. That was his advice.
Donc le camarade vous dit cela.
So that is what Comrade Hum told you. But if I understand you correctly, at that particular time you were in Wat Elong, which was another cooperative. Can you therefore explain how come Comrade Hum, who was at the cooperative you had left, which was 20 kilometers from where you were, was at Wat Elong cooperative in the morning? Can you explain that to the chamber?
Answer. He went the day before. In fact, he was in charge of the cooperative. However, he arrived at the place where I was asked to stress rights a few days before I arrived. He only told me at that time and advised me not to miss my family because family members of mine had been sent away and killed. My apology, Mr. President, if I have answers not correctly to the points.
Nous sommes d'accord et c'est peut-être...
I agree with you. Perhaps it is the interpreters who thought that Comrade Hum was a woman. So she was sent to Wat Elong, and that is where you were, and that is where you obtained information on what had happened. In answer to a question put to you by the co-prosecutor, and you confirmed that as well to my colleague Kope a while ago, that you heard that a certain Hum, an apparently well-known executioner, was involved in the killings of your family members. Was it Comrade Hum who gave you that information?
Answer, no. He was not the executioner. Mr. Bond, Comrade Bond, was very notorious in killing people wherever there were killings. Comrade Bond would be sent together with the groups which were to be killed. Comrade Bone, would be together with other comrades. I did not witness the actual acts of killing by Comrade Bone, but it was said that Comrade Bone would be sent away to kill people together with other comrades.
Là encore, Monsieur Pragdon, je suis désolée.
Here again, Mr. Pragdon, I am sorry. I know it's very complicated, but please pay particular attention to my questions. And my question was as follows. Was it Comrade Hum who told you of Bone's involvement in the killings of your family members as he related that to you? Was she the person who talked of Comrade Bone?
Answer. Comrade Hum told me of that information as I told the president. Actually, he said that he advised me not to miss my family members since my family members had already been smashed. He advised me to focus on work. I was silent at that time. Once again, Comrade Bond was very notorious since it was said that he was the one who would be sent away to kill people together with other comrades and messengers.
Excusez-moi, je vais vous poser.
I'm sorry, I'll have to ask the question for the last time, and I would like you to answer with a yes or a no. Was it Comrade Hum who told you that Bourne was a person in charge of the killings of your family members, yes or no?
Answer, no, it was not him who told me.
Donc, ce n'est pas elle.
So she was not the one who told you. Can you therefore tell me who told you of the supposed involvement of Bourne in those killings?
Actually, it was not Comrade Bourne who killed my wife. It was a rumor that wherever there were killings, so Comrade Bourne would be there to perform the duty.
D'accord.
Very well. As part of the proceedings before this chamber, you had to fill forms as part of your application to be a civil party in document D/22/2559/1, which only exists in one language, that is English, and the ERN is 00556210. There is a box in which it is stated in English,
Personnes qui sont
persons alleged to be responsible, that is, the persons you indicated as being responsible for your sufferings as a civil party. And you mentioned Comrade Ross, head of unit, and it is the head of the cooperative you referred to a while ago. Can you tell the chamber very briefly what he was in charge of, from what you know?
Answer. When I first arrived, Comrade Ruos was the one who was in charge in all the tasks. Later on, there were 3 other comrades who came to replace other cadres. There were 3 new cadres within that group. There were 3 males and 1 female cadres.
Est-ce que vous considérez
do you consider Rose as a person responsible for the deaths of your family members?
Answer. I did not consider that he was the one who killed my wife. However, he was the one who orders the relocation of the 7 families. I feel a pity on him, however.
Vous avez également indiqué dans cette...
You also stated in the same box that Comrade Hum, a group leader, I refer to him, do you consider him as a person responsible for the killings of your family members?
Answer. I do not consider any one of them to be the killers. I was an ordinary citizen at that time, and I did not know who committed the killings.
Donc, si je comprends bien...
So if I understand your answer correctly, it is the same for Comrade Na, Kun and Bon.
Answer. Yes, that is correct, what you said.
Je voudrais revenir brièvement sur...
I would like us to briefly revisit the issue of marriages. I understood that you told my colleague that the reason why you were allowed to speak at least one marriage ceremony was because you were a good speaker and you were persuasive. And you said, although you were not the chief, you were the person who was in charge of the fishing unit on an interim basis. Can it be said that you had the consciousness of the heads of the units, of the cadres, or the persons you were in charge of?
I was not fully trusted. However, I was tasked with mobilizing a few workforce, namely 10 people to the area.
Mais répondant à une question...
Yet, in answer to a question put to you by my colleague a while ago, you said that Rose regularly asked you to participate in marriage ceremonies. Can you tell us whether that happened once or several times?
Answer. I had attended one wedding ceremony. At that time, I was going to cut the poles. And when I came back, I was invited to attend one wedding ceremony.
C'est la cérémonie au cours de laquelle vous avez vu...
Was that a ceremony at which you saw 20 to 30 couples being married? And I understand that that was the only marriage ceremony at which you took the floor and delivered a speech.
Answer. I was told that there were 25 couples in the wedding ceremony. And later on, I was asked to go back to the place where I work to dismantle the poles.
Excusez-moi.
I'm sorry, Mr. Pragdun. My question was whether you can confirm that that was the only ceremony you participated in and the only ceremony at which you delivered a message?
Answer: I attended one wedding ceremony only.
Je voudrais maintenant, nous arrivons bientôt à la fin.
We are coming to the end of my questioning of this witness. That's for the chamber. I would like us to look at another document which is on the case file.
Un autre document qui figure au dossier,
And that is your civil party application form. And the number is E3/4989. This is the document that was provided to the ECCC, and it is the basis on which the co-investigating judges inter alia admitted your civil party application. And when you look at the last pages in Khmer, the date is the 15th of August 2009. My first question to you is whether you remember having met anyone who assisted you in filling out a civil party application form to enable you to participate in this trial, and to whom you may have related your life experiences. Do you recall having signed and put your fingerprints on this document dated the 15th of August 2009?
Answer: at the beginning, as I said, I was not aware of the fact that there were killings. And I cannot recall whether at that time I had to put my fingerprint.
I beg your pardon, civil party, without recalling whether you had to put your fingerprints on that document. Do you recall meeting the lawyer, Mrs. Nguyen, who put questions to you yesterday? Before meeting her and another counsel, do you remember meeting other persons who assisted you in filling out your civil party application form to enable you to participate in this trial? Does that ring a bell to you?
Answer: initially there was one person or perhaps two persons coming to my house to seek for information. They met me in Kampong Chnang province.
et pour que nous soyons précis, nous
And for purposes of precision, do we agree that those persons were not the lawyers, Lawyer Nguyen and the other counsel, but others who helped you to fill out that form?
Answer: I agree to what was in that document.
ma question était de savoir
My question was whether you do remember whether those persons presented themselves or introduced themselves as members of an organization or a staff of the tribunal. Do you remember whether those persons were different from your current counsel?
Answer: I was not told where they were from. Instead, I asked them where they were from. And in their answer, they said they wanted to know how many family members, including my wife, were killed.
vous voulez dire que
So you mean that these people didn't introduce themselves and they didn't tell you why they were asking the questions? or that it was part of participation in the trial before the ECCC?
But
Answer, yes, that is so. At the beginning, after a while of chit-chatting, I realized that they wanted to help what happened to my family members.
Mais est-ce qu'à un moment ou à un autre,
But did these people at any stage tell you that the document which you have just said you agreed with was going to be used as part of your participation in this present trial? Was that point of information put across to you?
Hong,
No, they did not. They told me that I would be sent to the court, and I was afraid that I would be punished.
dans ce document,
In document French ERN 00891035 and Khmer 00556-217 and in English 00891032, it says the following about your transfer to Koh-Tao. After 2 weeks, they said that they were looking for people who knew how to fish. I said that I could do that. So they transferred me and my wife and children to the village of Koh-Tao in the district of Boribo, where we had to use nets to catch fish in the river and supply the cooperative with food. My first question is it true that people asked who was capable of fishing and you said that you could, and that was therefore how you were transferred?
Yes, that is correct.
dans l'extrait que je viens de vous citer, il est indiqué
In the extract I referred to, it says that I was transferred with my wife and children, and so the impression one gets is that everybody left at the same time. Is that true? Or was it, as you said in the hearing, that your wife and children only joined you a year later?
but ពិតប្រាកដនៅខ្ញុំ
I was sent there first, and I don't know, several months later, my wife was sent to reunite with me after I made my request. But I went there earlier.
Je vous pose ces questions.
Deputy Co-Prosecutor, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't want to interfere with the questioning by the defence, but yesterday you gave us 20 minutes and we respected the time we were given. I stopped at 4 o'clock precisely. There were questions I would like to have asked, and there were matters that were still not clear for the civil party, but I could not go into those issues. And now we have been going for 35 minutes since lunchtime, and the defence had asked for 20 minutes. I'm rather wondering how much longer we're going on for, and I believe that the rules handed down should be respected on both sides of the chamber. Thank you.
Le Président, je pense que
The Defence Counsel. Mr. President, yesterday I did mention to the chamber that I would need more time than the amount that is normally allocated, I believe that the Chamber is used to the Q-Sampan defence not asking questions that have already been put, and here we're in a bit of an exception. Here we have a civil party whose written statements, and I'm right at the heart of this part of my questioning, whose written statements, as I said, the speaker interrupts herself.
President, I think you almost running out of your time. Why there is a need to debate about the time now? Anyway, I'll give you 5 more minutes.
Monsieur le témoin,
Mr. Brackdon, in ERN 008899033 and the same as before in the other languages, you say that in this document, one day Comrade Kun called me and asked me if I wanted to leave with my wife. And if I did not want to do so, I should collect rice bundles in the rice field. My wife would be separated from and sent to work in another place. My question is this. Is it correct that Kun talked to you about your transfer?
Yes, that is correct.
et
And do you know if it's also Kun who assembled the other couples?
I did not see it with my own eyes. What I knew is that I asked him for my child to be with me, but he said no. And later on, he said that my wife and my child had been executed.
Excusez me,
Excuse me, Mr. Brackdon, but I do have very limited amount of time, so please do answer the question directly. In the same document 00891036, and in the English ERN 00891034, and in Khmer 00556218, it says that each time there was a communal wedding ceremony, I would be invited by the Khmer Rouge unit chief Ross to attend. I was just a normal citizen and had no position in that regime. But the Khmer Rouge regarded me as the most knowledgeable man in my unit. So when you read that paragraph, it does sound to me as if you intended several collective marriages. Can you therefore confirm to me that you only attended one?
I attended only one event.
dans un dernier document,
In document E3/5632, which is a additional statement by you with a note saying that it was prepared after an interview with your lawyer and with a French lawyer dated 2010, it says that in 00899195 in French, in Khmer 00901538, and I don't have the English. Yes, I do. 00678294. So, in this document, what you say about the time when you learnt about the death of your family is the following. I didn't see my wife being killed because I had been taken somewhere else. Half an hour later, the unit chief came to see me and said, "Your wife and your parents, your in-laws, are dead. We have killed them, and we kill all the Vietnamese." Now, my question is, was it the next day or half an hour later that this unit chief came to see you?
I was told when he came to see me at sunrise that my wife and child had been smashed.
Sur la même page,
On the same page, you say that the person who brought me this information was called Midhern. I think that is the murderer of my wife and my children, who can also show us where their remains are. Is it true that you said to your lawyer, as part of the interview on that day, that you believed that it was Midhern, Comrade Hearn, who was responsible for the death of your wife and your children?
In fact, I was told that my wife and child had been smashed, but he didn't mention that who was the executioner.
dans ce
Well, the document says, "I think he is the murderer of my wife and children." Is it true you said that?
Yes, that's what I concluded, because I did not know at that time what on earth he came to tell me about the killing of my wife and child.
Enfin, à la
In the French ERNZ 008999196, English 0067825, and in Khmer 009011539, it says, "Before the execution of my wife and children, before 1977, I was not aware of other executions of Vietnamese apart from the 5 or 6 other families who were killed in 1978 because they were Vietnamese. I don't know if other executions occurred for the same reasons." Do you confirm that statement?
Yes, I maintained my statement.
dernière question.
Last question. Same ERNs in French and English, and in Khmer 009011538. After the exchange with your lawyer, it says, "In 1977, I had to organize forced marriages. I had received the order to organize collective marriages of 20 to 25 people, and the question I'm asking you is to know whether or not you did, in fact, organize forced marriages, in the plural, and if you received an order to organize those forced collective marriages."
As I stated repeatedly, I was called only once, and since yesterday I have told the court everything. I do not have anything else to add to what I have testified so far.
Je n'ai pas d'autres questions, Monsieur le
I have no further questions, Mr. President, and I thank you for the time that was given to me to do so. Thank you.
President, thank you. And Mr. Pradun, as I informed you, Towards the conclusion of your statement, you may make a victim's impact statement regarding the crimes committed upon you during the Democratic Cambodia regime with the current two accused, Nunchi and Khieu Samphan, and which led you to file your civil party application to claim collective and moral reparations for physical, material, or mental injuries as direct consequences of those crimes. If you wish to do so, you have the floor now. Civil Party, my respect to Mr. President, Your Honors, and all the people in the courtroom. I've been in too much pain for the loss of my wife and children, for the loss of my property, including my house. I lost everything. I lost both the children and the wife. And I want Your Honors to find me justice, to provide reparation to me. I almost became crazy for the suffering that I've received. I do not wish to make any major reparation claimed. However, I want something as a legacy of what happened to me. So what I want is to ask for a stupa as a symbol of the loss of my wife and my children. Thank you, Mr. President. I hope I can make such a claim to you. President, thank you. And do you have any questions that you wish to put to the accused? If you have, you can do it. However, you have to do it through me, the President of the chamber. You cannot put the questions directly to the accused. Civil Party, I do not have any questions to the accused. I only have my statement to make that so far I have almost lost my mind, and that mainly due to the suffering I received during the regime and the loss of my wife and the children. President, thank you, Civil Party, for your testimony as well as the victim's impact statement for the crimes that you claim you suffered under the Democratic Cambodia has now concluded, and your testimony can contribute to ascertaining the truth in this case. You may therefore be excused from the courtroom and you can return to your residence or wherever you wish to go to. The chamber wishes you all the very best. And the chamber would also like to thank Mr. Lim Bun Hu, the TPO staff, for your support provided to this civil party. You may also be excused. And court officer, please, in collaboration with Visu, make necessary transportation arrangement for Mr. Pradun to return to his residence or wherever he wishes to go to. President, court officer, Please usher the next witness, that is to TCW 886, into the courtroom. President. Good afternoon, Madam Witness. What is your name? Witness. Good afternoon, Mr. President. My name is Sao Sa. President, thank you, Madam Sao Sa. When were you born? Answer. No, I don't. I forget it. Question. How old are you this year then? Answer. I am 62 years old. Question. Where were you born? Answer. I was born in Anlongtria village, Evidentiary commune, Kampong Liu district, Prevang province. Question. And where is your current address? Answer. I still live on Longtria village, Evidentiary commune, Poriang district, Prevang province. Question. What is your current occupation? Answer. I am a dry season rice farmer. Question. What are the names of your father and mother? Answer. My father is Pong Sao and my mother is Hei Nam. Both are deceased. Question. What is the name of your husband and how many children do you have together? Answer. My husband is Kon Sum. We have 7 children all together, and of course my name is Sao Sa. My husband passed away 10 months ago. President, Madam Sao Sa, the greffier made an oral report this morning that to your best knowledge you have no relationship by blood or by law to the two accused, Noon Chia Kieu Sampon, or any other civil parties admitted in this case. Is that information correct? Answer. Yes, that is correct. Question. Have you taken an oath before the Iron Club statue before your appearance now? Answer. Yes, I have. President, the Chamber would like now to inform you of your rights and obligations as a witness in the proceedings before this Chamber. Regarding your rights, as a witness in the proceedings before the Chamber, you may refuse to respond to any question or to make any comment which may incriminate you, that is your right against self-incrimination. As for your obligations as a witness in the proceedings before the chamber, you must respond to any questions by the bench or relevant parties, except where your response or comment to those questions may incriminate you. And also, as a witness, you must tell the truth that you have known, heard, seen, remembered, experienced, or observed directly about an event or occurrence relevant to the questions that the bench or parties pose to you. And Madame Salsa, have you been interviewed by investigators or the office of the co-investigating judges? If so, when and where? Answer: they came to interview me in my village. Question: do you recall when and how many times? Answer: it happened quite a long time ago. I cannot recall it. Question: and how many times have you interviewed? Have you been interviewed? Answer: it happened only one. Question: and before you appear before the chamber, have you read, reviewed, or have it read aloud to you the written record of your interview with that investigator in order to refresh your memory? Yes, I read it. Question: and to your best knowledge, can you tell the chamber whether the written record of your interview that you have read in order to refresh your memory is consistent with what you provided to the investigator? Answer: yes, it is consistent. President, pursuant to Rule 91B of the ECCC internal rules, the Chamber will hand the floor first to the co-prosecutors before other parties, and the combined time for the co-prosecutors and the lead co-lawyers for civil parties is 2 sessions. You may proceed. National Deputy Co-Prosecutor. Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon, Mr. President, Your Honors, and everyone in and around the courtroom. My name is Seng Liang, the National Deputy Co-Prosecutor, and I would like to put some question to you, Madam Witness. And my first question to you is about your residence before 1975. Where did you live before that? Answer: before 1975, I was living in Long Tria village, Evidentiary commune, Pimbro district, Prevang province. Thank you. Question: were there any Vietnamese living in your village at that time? Answer: from 1969 to 71, there were Vietnamese living in Le Vietnam. However, there were only a few living in Prey Vang, and later on they all had been evacuated. Question: what about in your Long Tri village? Were there any Vietnamese families living there before 1975? Answer: I do not know about that. Question: can you tell the court how people in your area distinguish the difference between the Khmer people and the Vietnamese people? Answer. The distinction they can see is that, for example, in my village you would see half bred children, for example, or a mixed marriage between Cambodian men and Vietnamese wives.
Question: how about their accent? I mean, how is different in relation to accents of Khmer and Vietnamese people? Answer: we can recognize Vietnamese accent since they speak differently from Khmer people.
តើពួកខ្មែរក្រហមចូលកាន់
Question: when did Khmer Rouge come to take control of your area? Answer: they came to control the area in 1975. Question: before their arrival and after their arrival after 1975, were there any differences of the treatment between on the Khmer and Vietnamese people? Witness: I do not get your question, Mr. Co-Prosecutor. Co-Prosecutor, I want you to tell the court, since you said that there were Vietnamese in your area before 1975, can you tell the court how the base people regarded Vietnamese people? Were there any differences in treatment on the Vietnamese people before 1975 and after 1975? Answer: before 1975, we had a normal relationship. Later on, people were sorted out, and Vietnamese people were sorted out during that time.
ខ្ញុំចង់ឲ្យលោកស្រីជួយបញ្ជាក់
Question: I want you to tell the court concerning Vietnamese people. In which particular location did the Vietnamese people live? Answer: they were living, mixing up with the Khmer people. Question: I want you to tell the court about your mother. What was her nationality? Answer: my mother was half-blood Vietnamese. Question: did she have any relatives and siblings living within your area? Answer: no. I did not see her relatives or siblings living in the area since I was born. Co-Prosecutor: thank you, Madam. And after 1975, where did you and your family live? Answer: I live in Long Tria village, Prey province. Question: were there any Vietnamese people or children living in your area after 1975? Answer: there were a few families still living in my area after that time. Question: did you know them? Answer: yes, I did. Question: can you tell their names to the court? Answer: the father's name was Niang Nat, and there was an individual named Wan Mao. Question: can you tell the court when you got married and when did you have children? Answer: I got married in 1969. Question: how many children did you have by 1975? Answer: I had 3 children by that time. Co-prosecutor: thank you, Madam Witness. Coming back to your mother, what did she do during the democratic Cambodia? Answer: she worked in a cooperative and she was tasked with babysitting. Question: she was assigned to look after children and babies. Was she working with other people taking care of children and babies? Answer: there was a group of 5 to 10 people taking care of children and babies. Question: concerning that group of people who were taking care of children and babies, were there any of them Vietnamese or half-blood Vietnamese? Answer: no, it was only my mother who was half-blood Vietnamese. Question: during the Khmer Rouge time, what happened to your mother? Answer: later on, my mother was invited and called into a meeting. Question: when was she invited to a meeting? Answer: it was during the time when she was taking care of babies and children, and at that time when she was called into a meeting, she took my daughter, who was her granddaughter, with her. Co-prosecutor: when did that happen? Answer: it was in 1978 when my mother was invited to a meeting. I cannot tell you whether it was the exact year. Co-prosecutor: can you tell the year again, since I did not get it a while ago? What year was it? Was it in 1978 or 1979? Witness: I cannot recall the exact year when she was called into a meeting. Co-prosecutor: there is a document E3/7780 Khmer AON 002339296 English AON 002355511 through 12. French AON 00250506, said co-prosecutor. 00201. You stated that you made a mention about the event of Sao Phum when your mother was called into a meeting. Did this refresh your memory? Answer: it is true what you said. Co-prosecutor, can you tell the court who invited your mother to a meeting? Answer: I did not know for sure at that time who came to invite my mother to a meeting. I learned the information from a militiaman. Question: what was the militiaman's name and what did he or she tell you? Answer: it was Korn who told me that my mother was called into a meeting, in Chao area. Question: was she detained or was she actually invited to a meeting? Can you clarify this point? Answer: she was detained, and at that time I went to bring back my daughter, and they granted me the request to get my daughter back. After that time, she disappeared. I do not know where she went. Question: what kind of mistakes did she commit that leads to her detention? Answer: I do not know about that. Anyone who was related to Vietnamese origin would be taken away and killed. That is what I learned. Question: when was the last time that you met your mother? Answer: it was at 9 p.m. I was told that my mother had been taken away, and then I went to see my mother for the last time. She consoled me that do not think of her since she was getting old. And at the time I realized that she would be taken away and killed, and a few minutes later I took my daughter back home. Question: where did you meet your mother at the time? Can you tell the court the exact location when you met your mother? It was Grosap Al, the village where there was a hut, and that areas consisted of villagers who were living and working in the field. Question: does this mean that you met your mother in Grosap Al village? Is that true? What did you discuss with your mother at the time? Answer: I did not say anything. I only submitted the request to get my daughter back, and if I dared chit-chatting in detail what happened with my mother, I would be in danger. I was there just to bring back my daughter, and I was with pain and suffering when I saw that. Question. When your mother detained at Grasap village, did you notice there were other people detained over there as well? Answer. Yes, there were other people detained at that area. There was one lady, married a woman, who was there and detained. My mother, together with that married woman, were detained. Her name was Yu. Question. Oh, are you referring to Niang Nat? Another person who was detained there? Answer. Niang Nat was the daughter of the married woman who was detained. The married woman who was detained there was Yu, and the husband of that married woman names Tao. Question. Did you know the reason why Yuen was detained? Answer. In fact, Tao and Yuen were husband and wives, and Tao adopted a daughter to live with him. Question. Was Yuen detained there at the same time as your mother was? Answer. Yuen was taken away at the same time as my mother was, and they were detained there. Question. What about other members within your mother group who was taking care of the babies and children? Were there any other members within your mother's group detained? Answer. Those grandmothers or yeye were still working and taking care of children and babies after my mother had been taken away and detained. Question. From the time you met your mother the last time at Grasap village, did you have any chance meeting your mother once again? Answer. I had never seen my mother from that time onwards. I did not even hear any information about my mother. Question. What about Yuen, who was also detained at that place as well? Did you ever meet her again? Answer. No. The two individuals were killed or died from that time. President. Thank you. Co-prosecutor, it is now the break time. The chamber will take a short break from now until 3:10. Court officer, please assist the witness during the break time, and please invite her back to the witness stand at 3:10. The court is now in recess.